Hey everyone, welcome to ZBC Racing's comeback. I think this is going to be a really cool way to jump back into things. If you watched my ZBC podcast episode 0, you'll see a little bit of why I wasn't racing for a while, and that's because my dad unfortunately passed away. So you can hear more about that if you want to. I won't be addressing that anymore. I just wanted to get a little tidbit in the gaming stuff because as you guys know, I do gaming content, but I also do IRL NASCAR content covering the news. And then thirdly, I do compilation reactions. And then finally, I do actually in real life racing. I do go-karting. We're going to be going out in real cars and doing racing challenges, whatnot, actual races. So without further ado, let's just state what you can expect to see. So I have a couple of rules when I do this type of racing. Rule number 1 is it's an eye for an eye. A lot of times in real racing, my number 1 thing is be respectful, treat other drivers the way you want to be treated. But the reality in online racing is a lot of times people will do things that are kind of nefarious. And so sometimes you got to race very clean, very respectful, but you got to know your crowd. If you get into a situation where there's 30 people and it's just a wreck fest, then you got to do your best to just win that race by any means necessary. So that's rule number 1, is an eye for an eye. If someone's using dirty tactics, I won't be afraid to use them. So basically, I'll finish a fight, but I'll never start one. Or, if I do start one, I'll do my best to kind of, mend that situation and make it right. My goal is not to be a villain, but my goal is to, if someone hits me, like Donald Trump says, you hit them 10 times harder. So that's the first thing about, how we're going to go about this. Secondly, we are not aiming to do these hour-long league races, hour and a half, because, if I DNF, if I don't finish one of those races, then what was that hour and a half of my life for? I think the best way to go about this is to do these short races, try to find the best competition, the most exciting stuff, the most entertaining stuff, so that it gives you, the viewer, the best end product, the most exciting stuff. So we're not going for these crazy long races. We could mix in some 10 to 15, 20, 25 minute races. That's fine. But the goal is to just get a volume of fast-paced, entertaining content. Number 3, I don't really know that there's anything really else to say. Oh yeah, number 3 is, so from time to time, you'll see me just narrating as I race. The thing about that is, the more you talk while you race, the harder it is to actually race, because really this is a game of inches, and if you're playing in a game of inches and you're focused on the viewer, it can really affect the way that the on-track product, right? So you guys are going to get familiar with on-screen Zach and then narrator Zach, who's going to come in after, analyze what happened, see actually what strategies I use. So a couple months ago, here's the last thing, number 4, is yes, this is supposed to be entertaining, and that was kind of in point 2, where we're not going to make it these long races, but I actually want to make this edutainment, meaning you watch this, you get entertained, but you also can walk away with it a little bit smarter than you were before. So as I said, narrator Zach is going to come in and he's going to figure out what happened. So before I started doing all this type of content, I actually sat on the beach outside and I wrote 45 different I was sitting there literally thinking, all right, so I'm getting into this content where, I'm going to teach people about racing. So what is it that I actually know about racing? And I sat down there for a couple hours and I wrote down 45 different things, skills that I think it's 45, maybe it's like 35, but it's around 40 to 45. I would say strategies I use in racing. So, for example, what you'll see a lot in NASCAR is this late apex pass, meaning you don't set up the pass when you go into the corner, but you set up the pass to actually pass them on that next straightaway. So narrator Zach will then come in and tell you, hey, I used strategy A, strategy B. You can go back into my reels on Instagram if you want to like scroll up and see, or on YouTube, that I've actually done some content that shows you like what strategies I'll use in certain iRaces. So with those 4 points being addressed, let's go into a nice successful streak